Everything was perfect, but only at first glance. Wait until the end to see what was hidden behind this illusion. I didn't expect to find hell behind a folder marked work documents. It was a Tuesday night, quiet, routine. My wife Jenna was on a business trip, supposedly networking for her firm in Seattle. I was uploading receipts for our taxes when her iCloud folders automatically synced on the living room laptop. Most were dull, photos of invoices, spreadsheets, a scanned contract. But one file opened itself when I tapped the spacebar too long, and it was like the whole air around me shifted. There she was, wrapped in the arms of a man I didn't recognize, laughing like she used to laugh only with me. His hand was under her shirt. She wasn't wearing her wedding ring, and this wasn't new. The date on the photo showed it was taken 2 months ago. The folder name? Work documents. Cute. I could have lost it right then, but something in me cracked sideways instead of down. My mind shifted from pain to puzzle solving. Jenna was smart, methodical, always 2 steps ahead, except this time she got sloppy. Over the next 2 days, I enlisted Robbie, a friend of mine from high school who now ran a small IT repair business. He owed me big for getting his brother out of a DUI charge last year, so when I asked for access to Jenna's private accounts, he didn't hesitate. I gave him her old iPad, the one she claimed was water damaged, and he grinned like he'd been waiting to use his skills on something juicy. It only took Robbie 3 hours. Her email inbox was a graveyard of guilt. The DJ, Jake, sent her shirtless photos after gigs. Can't wait to taste you again. A lecturer named Alex emailed her long, romantic rambles about how she made him believe in women again. The last one, Tom, worked at a car dealership and signed off his emails with heart emojis. All 3 men thought she was single, but each had a different version of her. Jake thought she was a traveling wine rep with no kids. Alex believed she was recently divorced. Tom? He thought she was a widowed yoga teacher. She was playing each of them to cover her trail, and all of them were falling for it. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I created 3 fake profiles. Different names, believable photos. For Jake, I was Danielle, an aspiring promoter trying to book him for a private party. For Alex, I was Maya, a fellow faculty applicant who wanted advice. For Tom, I became Brooke, a curious customer looking for advice on her first hybrid. All 3 took the bait, and all 3 confessed. Every detail, every secret rendezvous, even the things she told them, the lies she whispered into each of their ears. I've never done this before. You make me feel alive again. You're not like the others. They each thought they were her only secret. I made sure they knew otherwise. A few days later, I sent each man a personalized package. Video clips of Jenna with the other 2, paired with screenshots of texts they never thought would be shared. The silence that followed lasted less than 48 hours. Then Jake messaged Danielle asking to meet the others. Apparently, he wanted to confirm what he saw with his own eyes. I arranged a meeting at a small bar downtown, neutral ground, no chance of Jenna showing up. When I walked in and saw all 3 sitting at the same table, the tension could have peeled paint off the walls. They stared at each other for a solid minute before anyone spoke. That's when the anger started rolling in. Jake realized he'd been bankrolling her flights. Alex muttered something about being her emotional crutch. Tom found out she used his dealership discount to upgrade her rental cars for work trips, and then I dropped the hammer. I laid out the evidence, printed screenshots, transaction records, even copies of PayPal requests. Jenna hadn't just cheated, she had conned them. She took money from all 3, pitched them the same fake startup idea, asked them to invest in a fake brand called Lily West. There was no company, just a name she scribbled on a napkin once during a fight, and apparently liked how it sounded. That's when something changed. They stopped being angry at just her and started turning that fury into something sharper, tactical. It wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It was about justice, revenge. Jake still had admin access to her Instagram, thanks to helping her build a personal brand. Alex had login details to her online teaching portal. Tom had a signed but blank guarantor form from a car loan she convinced him to help her with. When I told them about the synced folder labeled work documents, they all laughed. Short, bitter, wounded sounds. But no one left the table. We created an encrypted chat that night. The plan didn't need to be fully formed yet, but we had the skeleton. We had access. We had motive. I went home after midnight. Jenna called me around 1:45 a.m., her voice groggy, asking why I wasn't answering her texts. I said I'd fallen asleep watching a movie. She laughed, said she missed me. I stared at her name on my screen long after we hung up. The next morning, I packed the hard drive with everything on it and slipped it into my gun safe, just in case, because the plan had only just begun. If I had any doubt the plan would go through, it disappeared the moment Jake sent us the screenshot. He'd changed her Instagram bio to crypto philanthropist, DM for cause partnerships. Within hours, the first fake charity post went up. It was a photo Jenna had once taken while hiking, arms outstretched at the top of a cliff, eyes closed, some pretentious quote about chasing dreams. The caption read, "Launching Lily West Cares, empowering women through clean water access. First goal, $15,000 for filtration kits in Kenya. All donations go through my personal wallet, audited monthly." She didn't even know about it. We watched the donations pour in. $2,700 the first day. Most were small, $20 here, $50 there, but someone dropped $500 with a comment about admiring her integrity. Meanwhile, Alex slipped into her university portal and began rewriting emails between Jenna and her students. He tweaked tone, sprinkled in phrases like accelerated grading and privilege fast-tracking, made it seem like she'd been offering high scores in exchange for under-the-table support. He uploaded a few suspicious attachments to her assignment feedbacks, random PDFs with names like scholarship form and alumni gift proposal. That alone wouldn't be enough to ruin her, but it'd raise flags. That's all we needed for now. Tom's contribution was quieter but devastating. He used the fake loan form Jenna had signed back when she sweet-talked him into vouching for her business venture. With a few clicks, he submitted 3 bogus car loan applications to 3 different dealerships, listing Jenna as the sole guarantor. The cars, luxury models with laughable monthly payments and impossible approval rates. All declined within hours, but her credit file took a hit each time. I was the last to act that week. I waited until she left for her usual Thursday client dinner, then accessed our joint account. She had no idea the house deed, the car title, even the stocks were in my name only. I sold what I could that night, pulled $86,000 from the home equity, liquidated what was left of our shared retirement fund, and closed the travel cards she used for hotels and wine tastings. Every dollar moved to an account she couldn't touch. The next morning, Jenna called me from the airport. Her flight to Denver was boarding. I told her I'd handle the water bill she forgot. She thanked me with a giggle and blew me a kiss through the phone. By that afternoon, one of us had siphoned $14,000 from her crypto wallet using her home Wi-Fi. We knew the password. We had the backup codes. She thought she was clever for setting up a hidden cold wallet app under Recipe Vault. Tom found it within 10 minutes. We coordinated everything through an encrypted thread called Marigold. We set schedules, shared screenshots, logged progress. Every man in that chat had a different wound, but the same clarity. This wasn't petty, it was precise. On Sunday night, she called, but none of us picked up. She sent messages, "Can't wait to be back in your arms." And "I found the cutest little dog store. Thought of getting something for Max." That dog had been mine before we even met. She tried to claim him as hers in a birthday post last year. I remember the photo. Max wearing a tiny hat, her fake laugh cranked up to 11. Monday morning, Jenna walked into her bank and found her account frozen. She called hysterical. I know this because she called me 12 times back to back and left voicemails I didn't bother listening to. Later that day, she texted, "Did you touch the investment account?" I replied with a single period. At 7 p.m., I left a plain white envelope on the kitchen counter. I'd cleaned the whole house, wiped every surface, even refolded the linens. The envelope had one item, a collage of photos of her 3 boyfriends, each looking stunned in different screenshots from our video calls. They weren't hers anymore. I wrote a single sentence across the bottom in red ink. "You had them all, and now you have nothing." By the time she returned, the garage was empty. My car, my tools, my bike, gone. Her favorite wine glasses shattered in the trash bin. The cabinet still had food, but it was only beans, pasta, and a half-used jar of pesto. I heard later from a neighbor that she screamed when she saw the envelope. Another said she collapsed onto the floor, calling someone frantically. We know she called Jake first. He blocked her. Then Alex. Same story. When she called Tom, he answered. She started screaming. He said he played her voicemails for his coworkers over lunch, then hung up. That night, Jenna made the first public post in days. It was a black square with the caption, "If you think you've won, remember, karma spins slow, but hits hard." She had no idea karma was still loading. She still didn't know we were only halfway through. The morning after Jenna posted her dramatic black square, I knew something had broken. She was unraveling fast. She started calling people she hadn't spoken to in years, probably trying to find any ground that didn't feel like quicksand. But she miscalculated. Because when you live a life of fabrication, one man for affection, one for validation, another for luxury, your foundation is built on dust. She tried calling Tom again, and this time she left 6 voicemails in a row, apologizing, bargaining, even threatening to go public. It was laughable. Tom forwarded every message straight to us. Then he turned off his phone and went back to closing a deal on a hybrid SUV Jenna had once begged him to help finance. But what none of us expected was how fast she'd snap. It was Thursday when it happened. Tom was closing up at the dealership when he saw her car parked at the far end of the lot. She was waiting, sitting in the driver's seat, hood pulled up, sunglasses on like a budget disguise. When he walked past her, pretending not to notice, she bolted out and stormed toward him. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She didn't even try to talk. She lunged. Key in hand, she slashed across his cheek before he could move. Tom staggered back, hand to his face, blood already dripping down his shirt. But he didn't swing, didn't shout. He reached calmly into his pocket, pulled out his phone, and hit record. She kept shouting, accusations, curses, phrases that made no sense, until the dealership manager came running with another employee. Jenna tried to bolt, but they boxed her in until the cops arrived. 6 minutes later, she was handcuffed and shoved into the back of a squad car. The officer examined Tom's phone. The footage was clear, her hand gripping the keys, the sound of the slice, her face twisted in something past rage. When I got the message from Tom, I wasn't even surprised. I just leaned back in my chair and smiled. The fallout came fast. Jenna tried claiming self-defense, raving about a conspiracy, saying these men were all connected and after her. But the police weren't interested in theories. They had timestamps. They had her voice. They had the financial trail leading right back to her IP address. The donations she collected, withdrawn through a flag transfer, the rewritten university emails, reported by a confused student who received a thank you message for a donation. When she refused to unlock her laptop, they seized it. Her phone, too. A forensic review was ordered within the hour. She didn't know that Alex had already handed over a timeline of every digital step they'd taken, just in case. Friday morning, a quiet court hearing was held. Jenna stood pale and stiff before a sleepy-looking judge. A movement restriction was granted, and by the time she left the building, a slim, black electronic bracelet hugged her left ankle. Meanwhile, we met at a small bar on the east side of town. Just the 4 of us, Chris, Jake, Alex, and Tom. No loud music, no stories retold. Just quiet nods and tired glances passed between us like battle-worn soldiers. I brought the paperwork. We each signed a non-disclosure agreement I had drafted by a lawyer friend. It wasn't about legality. It was about silence. Secrecy. The kind that keeps the wolves confused and the tracks covered. We agreed. No talking, no revenge fantasies, no leaks. What we'd done was over. Almost. After we signed, Alex reached into his jacket and pulled out a flash drive. He slid it across the table to me. "We should wipe everything," he said, voice steady. I looked at it, then looked at each of them. Tom had a butterfly bandage across his cheek now. Jake's eyes were heavy, sleepless. Alex was stone-faced. I ran my thumb over the drive's surface and finally said, "Not yet." There was a pause. No one asked why. They just nodded. That night I went home alone. Jenna, now out on bond, had texted me 3 times. I didn't respond. Instead, I pulled out a hard case from under the bed and loaded it with every piece of data we had. Flash drives, hard copies, signed statements, even the forged car applications. I labeled the box Archive A, locked it, hid it inside a fireproof safe behind a panel in the garage. I didn't plan to open it again, not unless I had to. Saturday passed without word from her. Sunday, she made another attempt. This time, she left a voicemail, her voice hoarse and slow. "Chris, please, I didn't mean for this to happen. You have no idea what I've been through." I didn't respond, but I watched. Through a private account I'd created months ago, I monitored her Instagram, her Twitter, her pathetic attempts to justify the mess, vague quotes, dramatic selfies, a healing journey hashtag. But her follower count was dropping. The fundraiser link had disappeared, and the whispers were growing. Then Monday came. Jenna arrived at the university ready to reclaim some sense of control. But before she could badge in, she was intercepted. A folded letter was handed to her by campus security. Her contract had been terminated, citing reputational damage and ongoing investigation. She stood frozen outside the building for nearly 5 minutes. Someone filmed it and posted a blurry clip online. "Lady gets fired and doesn't blink." It went viral. That same afternoon, a formal notice was mailed to her from the bank, a $3,000 fine for a false fraud claim. 3 days later, she got hit with a lawsuit from the dealership for breach of contract and identity falsification. And through all of it, she still hadn't heard a single word from the men she once spun lies for. Not a message, not a call, not even a goodbye. A week passed before Jenna made her final move. Desperation has a scent: cold sweat, spoiled confidence, and cheap perfume. And it was thick in the messages she left. I didn't listen to most of them, but one caught my eye. A voice memo 30 seconds long titled "Please." I hit play. She was crying. Not the kind that comes from guilt, but the kind people fake when they still think there's a chance to salvage their version of events. "I just need to explain," she pleaded. "You don't know what they promised me. I thought I could. I thought I was building something." Building what? A shrine of lies? An empire of illusion funded by 3 men who each thought they were her secret truth? That sentence alone said it all. She didn't regret the betrayal, only the collapse. She tried calling Jake. His number was deactivated. She texted Alex. The messages went undelivered. She DM'd Tom's new handle, but he'd wiped every trace of his old identity from social media. Even the dealership had changed their staff directory photo. And me? I was gone. I moved quietly. Oregon, small town, 2 hours from Portland. I didn't tell anyone. Rented a house with high hedges and a long driveway. I took Max, the dog she claimed in every birthday post but never walked. Temporary custody was granted with a single court filing. She didn't contest it. Probably didn't want to face the judge, or the documents, or me. Alex resumed teaching. His record remained clean. The university quietly backed down after investigating the forged emails. None of them traced back to his own IP. It all led back to hers. Jake got picked up for an international tour gig and vanished into airports and after-parties. Last I heard, he was somewhere in Prague. Tom, he changed his last name on Facebook and deleted every tagged photo. Said he was moving closer to family, though he never said which one. We all agreed. No contact, no mentions. Not to her, not about her. Our chapter was closed, but chapters aren't the same as endings. I kept every file, copies of the chats, voice memos, bank statements. I burned them all to 3 separate drives and stored them in different places. One in my office desk drawer, one in a lockbox at a storage unit registered under a false name. The third, I placed in a vault-style fire safe behind the drywall in my new garage. A thumbprint lock secured it, and only Max knew the new hiding spot. I didn't keep it because I wanted to act again. I kept it because predators don't change. They wait, they adapt, they rebrand, and I was ready if she ever tried again. A month later, the email came. It was sent to my work address, one she must have guessed through LinkedIn. The subject line was blank. The message was just 5 words. "You ruined everything I had." I forwarded it to the police. They responded within hours. Apparently, she had been flagged for digital harassment involving another former colleague. I wasn't the only one she'd targeted in her spiral. They added my message to the report. That was the last I heard from her. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about her sometimes. Not with love, not even hate, just in moments. Walking past a wine aisle, hearing a certain laugh, seeing someone at a bar with too much charm and not enough honesty. Sometimes I wonder if she stares at her phone, hoping one of us will break the silence. If she imagines different versions of herself, ones where the lies held, where the illusion didn't crack. But illusions don't survive weight. And the weight of 3 lives, 3 men, 3 versions of herself, it finally crushed the real one. Jenna once told me love was about trust. She said that in our first year together, standing barefoot in our old apartment, holding a mug of black coffee and smiling at me like I was the only man in the world. I used to believe her. Now I believe trust is about time. And time always reveals the truth. So no, I didn't ruin everything she had. She did. I just made sure there was no way back. That's all for now, folks. Thank you for being with me today and listened. And if you liked my story, please subscribe, hit the like button, and comment below what you think about all this, and what would you do if you were me. Also, don't forget to check my other stories in description below.